All right. Let's see. Let's bring up the comments. How's everybody doing today? Let's make sure the clock is on. All right. All right. I'm just finishing up a few things really quickly. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Let's see. Going to the scenes window. All right. Okay. I think this is good. All right. Usually I'm a little better prepared. How you doing, Dee Dee? Hopefully my sound is okay. Let's see. I am going to go to, I'll just jump to the comments window real quick. And hopefully you guys can see that there is a worksheet that I've attached, just a downloadable worksheet, or you can fill it in on your phone. So we got Mindy in the house, Downsizing Diva, Chrissy, Losing It with Grace. Hey. Hello, Mel. What's up, Nia? All right, we got Paul in the house. Hey, Elaine. All right. So, you know what our topic is going to be? It's going to be about food noise. And I'm sure that a lot of us, I know that everybody doesn't experience that, but I know that a lot of us do. And it's so funny because I was already thinking about that topic for today's daily dose of mindset. And the video interview that Downsizing Diva did last night or that she aired, that was discussed in it, and I was just like, "Yes, that's perfect. That's what we're talking about." So, um, yeah, I'm excited. How you doing, Nicole? How you doing, Jen? All righty. So, what I'm gonna do? Let me see. I did not. Um, there's an application that I use when I have the comments or the questions and stuff coming up, and I was just now able to get it to work. So I don't know if they were doing some maintenance. So that's why I'm a little let's get into that. And let me make sure it comes up properly. All right. So, what I want you guys to put in the chat is in one word, how would you describe your current relationship with food? So, that's where I want to start with, kind of doing an assessment to see where everybody is. And I know I just kind of jumped into it, but we'll get this stuff out of the way and then we can get into uh, the Q&As afterwards. How you doing, Tammy? Rocky Road. It's like an ice cream, right? Isn't that a type of ice cream? Complicated, sure. Regretful. Okay. Let me bring up the chat on here. Okay. Let's see. Erratic, partnership, complex. Okay. All right. So we have a lot of different feelings on our relationships with food. That's what I'm noticing. All right, there we go. Let me bring that up and that way I can see the comments. Okay, uninterested. I'm gonna have to say that I'm with you on that, Jen. I am. I just haven't had like I'm able to eat, right? But I don't have this where I am constantly thinking about food and someone else put chore. It's kind of a chore. Kind of feels like a chore, but I know it's something that I have to do. How you doing, Linda? Hey, Delilah. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to say, yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like I'm just not interested in it and it is a chore for sure. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I made notes. And I don't want to sit here and read to you, but there have been times in the past where I did not follow that and I missed out on things that I wanted to talk about. So that's why you're going to see me referring to things. And I actually have it, I got it printed today. Okay. We're not, I'm not messing around. So you guys know that tonight's focus is going to be about food noise, what it is, why it happens, and how to manage it. So my goals for you by the time we're done tonight, I want you to understand what food noise really is. We're going to explore the root causes. So there's physical, emotional, and habitual. I want to give you tools to manage it sustainably. And then of course afterwards we'll do the live Q&A. So I want you to know, and it's very important for everybody to know, that this is a safe space. So nobody should be judging anybody or putting any, you know, just because something is not necessarily what you would do or that something that you've experienced, it's not okay to, project that onto someone else. We are all at different levels of our journey. So just keep that in mind, okay? So I will start off with what food noise is. Food noise is repetitive thoughts about food that are not based on true hunger. It often sounds like, what can I eat next? Should I eat that? Or I'll be good tomorrow. And I was famous for that. That was something that I am going to also interject things, my experiences, just to kind of drive the points home. This was me. I had a conversation in the comments today with someone. I would be eating lunch and thinking about the next meal, not even necessarily dinner, like a snack that I want to have later, right? And it seemed like oftentimes it was never enough. And I would eat past the point of being full, being uncomfortable, stomach cramping up, being so bloated that I couldn't lay down. I was on medication for acid reflux. I have a hiatal hernia. Like a lot of these things were because of, they were self inflicted. And it all came from my reaction to food noise, just constantly giving into it. So, I need you to know that it is not about willpower. Okay. It's about wiring and past conditioning. This is something, and I've said, right, that I didn't struggle with weight growing up, but the food noise was there. And we weren't deprived. It wasn't like we had to do without that. We didn't have, home cooked meals, that had nothing to do with it. I just seemed to be motivated for as long as I can remember, constantly thinking about food. Um, and so, food noise is common in those with long histories of dieting or emotional eating. So, I don't think that I would call myself an emotional eater. Well, I could eat when I was happy, when I was sad, when I was upset. Like, there was no, I know some people, if they're stressed out, they'll, tend to think about food more and eat more. I didn't need that. It could just be a Tuesday, right? Like there was no particular reason that I have been able to come up with yet. So I'm still a work in progress. So now I want to talk about physical hunger versus emotional hunger. GLP-1s reduce physical hunger, but not emotional triggers. A quick example of that. Remember about, I don't know if we're at a month or 2 months now, but when I was going through that stressful situation where one of my bunnies almost died, that was extremely stressful. That also happened to align with when I went down in my dose. So, for the first time since being on the medication, I started experiencing food noise. Now, it only was for 2 days. It wasn't even 2 days. Like, I know some people say they start to experience that at maybe day 5 or 6. No, my injections are on Sundays, and I was experiencing this on a Monday and a Tuesday. So we know that, yes, the GLP-1s help us with our hunger cues, but this is emotional. So I just want you to know that. This is emotional, all right? So biological. Let me go over it again just to make sure I didn't lose anybody. GLP-1s reduce physical hunger, but not emotional triggers. So here's the biological component. Hormonal influences like ghrelin and insulin resistance, psychological, people who have consistently used food as comfort, control, or distraction. I mean, boredom eating, right? That's a thing. Behavioral, habits built around TV, stress, time of day, or boredom. I am still guilty of when I'm eating, sitting down in front of the TV. So I'm not necessarily dialed in and focused on, I know there are people that say you sit down um, and you eat your food and you don't have any other distractions. I don't do that. I'm definitely someone that's eating and watching TV or multitasking, or not multitasking where I'm physically doing things, but doing things in addition to eating. All right. So, a key insight, food noise returning, that's not failure. Doesn't mean the medication isn't working anymore. It's feedback. There's something going on. And our job is to pinpoint what that is so that we can react to it in that way and not give in to it. Okay. So, let's see. Let's get into some emotional roots of food noise. Past trauma or emotional Past trauma or emotional neglect tied to food behaviors. Scarcity mindset from years of dieting or food rules. Associating food with reward, relief, or self soothing, right? Self soothing. Um, a lot of us will use food as a way of celebrating something, right? Birthdays, holidays, it's all centered around food if you think about it. Think about every major holiday that we celebrate, that when we get around each other as a family or friends, 4th of July, for example. What is it? Cookouts, fireworks. But there's always food incorporated into everything. So what we need to do is identify our emotional triggers so that we can manage the behavior. Okay? Now, it's so funny, Geraldine mentioned HALT today, and that's what we're gonna be talking about. So what I want how to quiet food noise, we're gonna do a HALT check, okay? So this stands for hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And again, I'm not putting all this up on the screen. Um, that's why we have the worksheet. So if you want to take a moment and get the worksheet just so you can kind of follow along, that's there. So all right. That's the heart check. You want to ask yourself, am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? You want to create structure. Don't skip meals. Keep your rhythms predictable, right? As much as you can. Now, if you're somebody who is working, you probably have your daily schedule. I'm retired, so every single day for me doesn't look the same. It starts when I'm ready to start it. So for those of you who do well with structure, you have a certain way of doing things, try to keep it around the same every day. If you're not a breakfast eater, I'm not going to tell you you have to eat breakfast, but make sure you're having lunch. Make sure you're having something, right? Our bodies, we're like cars. We need fuel. We need fuel to operate efficiently. Okay. So you want to keep everything on schedule if you can. Use grounding tools. I know that Mindy mentioned some of those earlier today. Make sure you're drinking water, right? Go on a walk, journal, do some deep breathing. Now, I'm going to tell you guys the first time that I was told that, and this was some years ago, I was insulted and I felt like, what are you talking about? What do you mean go for a walk? I want to eat. Like, why would I go for a walk? How's that going to help? How's that going to help me at 12 o'clock at night? Well, we got to do something, right? Do some deep breathing. You can go on YouTube. There's lots of videos. If you just need 5 minutes, just take some time to compose yourself. Okay. When that food noise came back, just for those 2 days, now it wasn't the degree of what I used to experience. I was not going to give in to that, right? I was confused and I was afraid because it was something that I hadn't dealt with. But I had to make that choice. Am I going to give in to this? Which I didn't even think I had a choice before. That's not even something I would have considered. I wouldn't have been like, oh, this is food noise. No, I was just eating. So we have to be intentional. And I really believe that This medication provides space for us to be able to do that. All right. Avoid restriction because that reinforces food obsession. I don't know about you, but the more I tell myself I can't have something, the more I want it. I don't know why I'm wired that way, but I know I'm not the only one. So if you feel that way too, hopefully you know that you're not alone. Okay. We have to get away from that. Now, I am a vegan and I eat a whole food plant based diet. Just because I don't eat certain things, I don't label them as bad foods. They're just things that I don't eat because I know that I don't operate efficiently when I eat them. I don't want to eat something that could trigger me wanting to eat it more and more and more. Do you know what I mean? So I consider this as I am taking care of myself and I'm protecting myself from that. I know there are a lot of people that feel like, well, I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat. And if that works for you, do that. But if it doesn't, we are in control. And that's kind of what I want to drive in. This is mental, it's not physical. Even though it feels like it, it's not. And I think some of you, some of us are so used to having that that we think that that's a true sign of hunger. So now that we don't have it, we think we can't eat, but you can, right? Because that's not true hunger. So I want you to give yourself permission to pause and not react. Okay. If you're one of those day 5, day 6ers, tell yourself, you know what? I'm giving myself my shot in 3 days. I can do this, 2 or 3 days, however it is for you. You can do it. You don't have to give into it. And I know it's hard. And I'm not, I'm able to do this because I'm on this medication. So prior to that, I wasn't able to. And so I'm assuming that if you're here, you're on this medication as well, and you knew the topic, so you've experienced this. We can get through it. We certainly can. Okay? Let me check in with you guys. Hopefully hopefully I'm not giving you too much at one time. Let me get to the comments. All right, let's get up here. All right, we got some hellos. Let's see. All right, I'm still getting through these comments. Let's see. How you doing, Pamela? Okay. Delilah, I am an emotional eater. I eat for comfort. I also have times where I won't eat at all for a few days, even when I'm super depressed. However, once I get out of the super funk of it, I try to eat it anyway. Okay. So I feel like you're already saying that you try to eat. So there's really nothing. I didn't experience that. So that's something that, although I feel for you, I didn't experience not being able to eat. So, um, but I do have a daughter that experiences that and I know how difficult that is. So, we can say all day you need to eat. The fact that you're trying and you're aware of it, I don't know if you're in therapy, Delilah, and anybody else on this chat, but I am a big advocate of that. Therapy. And not just your general therapy, find somebody who specializes in disordered eating, right? Because a lot of that, they can address trauma or anything that you've dealt with in your life. They can address that, but they understand when it comes to the things that we do to cope, the way that we eat, these habits that we have, the triggers that cause us to either eat too much or not eat at all. I would recommend talking to a specialist that deals specifically with eating disorders or disordered eating. Um, that's my 2 cents about that, Delilah. Okay, so it's a lot of you that um, also experience that too. Okay. I've noticed some old triggers, but it doesn't last long. And that's the thing, Mary, right? I didn't even I couldn't even take time in the moment to assess things before. I would just act, and it would always be, "Okay, this is my last time. Okay, I'm just gonna do this today. Okay, I'm gonna start over on Monday. Okay, let me start over on the 1st." It was always the same because those same thought patterns were there, and I would just automatically go into it. So that's why I'm saying we have to be extremely intentional. Let's see. Okay, that's for Vanessa. Let's see. Emotional eating can be happy and sad events. I'm an emotional eater. I eat for every occasion. It's controlled now. Okay. And that's kind of where I'm at. The medication has definitely um been so impactful for that. Food is the foundation of celebration and grief in my family. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of us have experienced that, right? Every time we get together, it's a lot of food, and don't be slim. Like I grew up, super slim. So it was always like, "Girl, get over there and eat." Listen, I'm going to eat. Eating wasn't something they had to tell me to do. Maybe it didn't look like I ate a lot, but I certainly did. Let's even okay, that's for Delilah and Vanessa. All right. Ooh, I went from anorexia in my 20s to overeating in my 50s. That will mess up your metabolism later for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then again, talking with a professional that deals with that for a living, that has the training to help you, that's my recommendation. That's my recommendation. Like I'll give you some tips here, but it's not going to still be better than seeing a professional. And this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I just want you guys to be aware. See, I love how you eat. I have taken a positive approach to changing my diet to fish and other seafood. I feel so much better and it doesn't feel restrictive. The meds truly support me. That's great. That's great. I think that you know, Dee Dee also experienced the same thing, right? Giving up she was eating seafood and gave up other types of meat for Lent. And that was something that she experienced also, things flowing better and not feeling so stuffed. So I think that you just take it one day at a time and you found something, Elaine, that works for you. And that's great. Um, Let me switch back to the main just so I can. Wow, Lee, I didn't take that off. All right. One of these days, I'll have a flawless live. Um, just because I'm a vegan, I don't shove that down anyone's throat. That is something that I made a decision to do, and eating a whole food plant-based diet is something that works for me. I'm always going to encourage it. Like if you could add more whole foods to your diet. And when I say diet, I don't mean I'm on a diet. I mean a diet in the typical definition of diet, the way that you eat. Do what's do what works for you. Okay? Don't um and that's what you're doing, Elaine. And I think that's great. I think that's great. We have to do what's best for us. So that's it. That's it. How you doing, Mabel? All right, we got let's see. I think that prior to now, I would eat more out of habit to soothe, comfort, or get through. But after hearing the food noise definition, I didn't have that. Okay, now I only eat because I need to. That's the same. And someone had put chore, that it's a chore in the comments, and that's how I feel now. It's like, oh my gosh, I'll have to look at the time, like, oh, it's time for me to eat again, which I'll take it. I'll take it. It was the opposite extreme before, so it was an adjustment, but I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that, which is why I feel like I would be on the medication for the rest of my life. If you are someone who doesn't experience Oop, there we go again. If you're someone I wonder why it's doing that. Bear with me, bear with me. It's my first time. Did it again. All right. If you are someone who doesn't experience food noise, doesn't deal with that, then it's quite possible for you to come off the medication and be just fine. But that is my biggest reason. And it's not just the food noise itself, it was feeling the lack of self control around food. And food is something that we have to do, right? We have to eat every day. So it's not like with other addictions, like, alcohol or drugs, they can abstain from it completely, right? They have to. They can't do a drink here socially. We can't do that with food because we have to eat it every day. But we have to use this medication and take control over the things that we're putting in our body. So if you're aware of it, you're like, oh my gosh, day 5, I start to feel a certain way, then prepare for that. Maybe you're eating, if it's true hunger, right? If your body is not getting enough, then maybe you eat a little bit more. But it doesn't mean that we have to go crazy and do a binge cycle, right? We don't need to go back for seconds and thirds and fourths. If you know that normally, and this was a big thing with tracking, right? There are people who don't want to track, and I understand. But if you can track, let's say you track for a month. I'm going to say a month, right? You track for a month. This is what I'm eating. Then you know when you start to get that food noise, okay, logically, I have been eating this and I've been fine. There's something else going on. Do you know what I mean? It gives you that space to be like, okay, I can't be hungry because I know it's hard to differentiate between hunger and then just this constant thought about wanting to eat something in particular. So we're popping right on back over to the comments. All right. Uh oh, I'm scrolling up because I missed something. Setbound really helped me break this crazy cycle. That's great. That is great, Mary. Bonnie said, me and food are best friends. I used to be best friends. We're just associates now. Let's see. Okay, you do see an eating disorder therapist. That's great. That's great. And I know Mindy's in. She's very vocal about that. I'm in therapy for eating disorder. It's help it exactly. Oh, aw, thank you. Darian with that comparison detox. I love it. We can get everything we need online, right? Let's see. I'm scrolling on down. Hey, Heather, how are you? Let's see. Leland, let's see. Definitely felt a few side effects, but nothing too bad. I'm doing good. I felt like I hit a plateau already, but I realized I wasn't eating enough and getting enough water and fiber. Yes, Leland. Yes. That's good. That's good. Hey, vegan mama. The simple lifers. I live for these names that Darian pops up with on Mondays. Hey, Jane. All right, I'm just scrolling down, guys. I don't want to. All right, that's an amazing. Okay. Bellflower. Actually, I skipped one. Sorry about that, Darian. That's an amazing realization. Okay, so that was for Leland. I do wonder if my aversion to foods I used to enjoy are because I've been away from them for a few years and no longer interested, or if the meds are also a factor. I guess I will find out when I stop. Yeah. All right. And then when you do, let us know. Let us know because I know that this is not a one size for everybody. We do know that there are a small percentage, and I only say small because that's all I'm aware of a small percentage. But when you think about how many people are on these medications, a small percentage is still a lot of people, right? And there are people who come off and they're successful. So I don't want to say anything like just because I am making the decision or making the choice to stay on it, that doesn't mean that that's the choice for everybody. So I don't want anybody to feel like that. All right. So, okay. Pam says app for tracking. Lose It. So the Lose It app, and I'll show you what it looks like. Well, I don't want to. So it's the orange. Let's see. Can you guys see that? The orange little. Oop, there you go. Right there. That's the Lose It app. And if I can, I just pull it up in the App Store for you. App Store. Just type in Lose It. All right. And then you can see that a little bit better. So that's the app. Um, and that was for Pam. Okay. I view food as a business partner. It's necessary to accomplish my health goals. And I actually do like what I eat. 90/10 Whole Foods. You know, I like what I eat, but the whole process now, I'm just not as, I guess, obsessed or as I was before. Where when I was constantly thinking about it, everything always sounded good. And if there was something that I was like, okay, I'm not going to eat this, I would go off the rails. Off the rails. All right. Let me check out something else. So let's pause for a second from the comments and we're going to go back to some more questions, right? Another question I have for you all is when do you notice food noise the most? So I'm going to pop that up. When do you notice food noise the most? So one would be first thing in the morning, two, late at night. And just so you know, you don't have to write out the words, just put the number. Three, after a meal. Four, during stress or boredom. Five, when I'm alone. And six, all the time. Now, this is, you can either talk about it from what you experienced before getting on the medication, or if you're still experiencing it now, then put it from now's perspective. So for me, from before, I was a six all the time. So I'm just going to give you guys an opportunity to put that in there. And while you're doing that, I want to get into the next part, okay? So I'll give you guys time to do that. And I want to talk about building new patterns. Actually, I'll wait. I'll wait until we get through this. Hey. Okay. So it looks like a higher percentage during stress or boredom. Okay. Stress or boredom. And then we have, okay, so there's quite a few of you that were on the same program as me. It was all the time. Hopefully, if you're on this medication, you're not experiencing it all the time now. But if so, it's okay. There's hope. There's hope. Um, okay, so I think we pretty much have the answers in. Okay. Okay, and let's see. Leland says before the Zepbound, it was late at night. Okay. And now it's during stress or boredom. Okay. And so for those of you that experience it during stress or boredom, doing those things like where do we have it here? Doing the grounding tools, taking walks, journaling, doing some deep breathing. Um, I want you to be aware. So we're not doing stuff to as a distraction, but we just want to be aware in the moment and try to assess, okay, what am I feeling? Why am I thinking about this so much? What's going on? You know, we need to take time to process it. So it seems like a lot of you it was during stress or boredom. Okay. Let's go back. All right, before I go back to the comments, let me go into how we build new patterns. So, what we want to do is replace automatic eating habits with intentional coping strategies. You can practice a 5-minute pause before reacting to food thoughts, right? Set a timer. Now, I know a lot of us, you're probably on a cell phone right now. You can set a timer on your phone if you have a watch, anything. If you've got, any of the home devices, set a timer for 5 minutes. So, what I want you to do is identify your high risk. I'm sorry, it's so loud here. Give me 1 second. Okay, place, buddy. No, you can give him whatever. I just wanted him to. It's just distracting. Okay. So, for those of you that are late night, first thing in the morning, when you're alone, like after a meal, you want to identify your high risk times and create a plan. So, if you notice that you tend to have this in the evenings, we need to plan something so that we're ready when this happens. Okay. And you want to celebrate your small wins. Every intentional pause, you're building trust in yourself. So every time that you don't give in to that, you're going to reinforce it in your mind, right? It becomes real. If you give in every single time, then it just becomes automatic. So it's going to take effort. It's even on the medication, it's going to take effort at first, especially if it's something that hasn't been eliminated for you. Take that time and pause. Now, if after that time goes and you can't bring yourself, you just got to eat, you know, we'll try again next time. But the more that you can fight that, the better off you'll be in the long run. And it's not easy. So I'm not sitting here trying to simplify it, but it can get easier. It doesn't have to stay at this degree of stress for you. It can get better. It can get better. And it will, right? Because we're going to be intentional with it. So I want to give you some mindset shifts. I like giving you mindset shifts. I'm not failing, I'm learning. Okay. These are things that you can write them down. You can, figure out something that would work for you, right? I don't want to sound like a Hallmark card or anything like that, but I just want to give you some things that you can practice. If you don't have anything necessarily in your mind, maybe try these things. So, this is a pattern, not my identity. I can respond differently even when the urge is strong. I'm becoming someone who listens to my needs without judgment. So when you experience it, don't beat yourself up. You don't have to go into automatic, I'm a failure. You're not. This is years, right? Think about it. How many years have you struggled with this? Do you really think that at the flip of a switch, it's just going to go off? It does for some people, but it doesn't for everybody, right? Just like some people can be successful on 2.5 milligrams and some people need to go to 15. It doesn't mean that the people on 15 are doing something wrong. Our bodies are different, our brains are wired differently. Okay. This is something that takes time and it takes effort. You have to put the effort forth. You're not going to just magically get it. I don't just magically have it. Okay. It takes effort. Maybe not the food noise aspect now, but those days that I experienced it, how easy would it have been to just be like, well, you know what? I went down in my dose. I'm stressed out. I'm just going to eat. I would have felt horrible. And if you've been doing that, if you've been giving into it and feeling bad, let's stop the cycle. Let's stop the cycle. We are making these choices. Okay. And then anchoring in your why helps refocus your response, right? So those are the times like when that noise is going and we take that pause, that's the time where we're reevaluating things, okay? Whatever your goals are. Let's say I don't know, I don't want to make up a goal. My goal initially was 22% body fat. So I'm not going to get there if I continue overeating or doing those types of things, binge eating or eating things that I know don't agree with me, right? We got to dial in that why. And your why needs to be strong enough. If it's just a matter of I want to be 150 pounds, that is not going to push you through. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. And I know that and you know that. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but what we're going to do is we're going to be real. That's being real. We need to be real with ourselves, and we don't always the delivery is important. The message is important, and you may not always like the message, but sometimes it needs to be heard. We are in control of our actions, okay? This medication creates that space. If you haven't gotten to a dose or a level yet where that has happened for you, just know that eventually, nope, my dog is acting up. One second. Cerberus, no. Chill out. Chill out. No, chill out, buddy. Cerberus, chill out. Good boy. Okay. All right. So we did that. Okay. Bear with me. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the chat. And hopefully I didn't. Let's see. I'm scrolling up here. All right. Okay. So Paul says before he was a 6. Okay. All right. Scrolling down. I've got to bring this up. Hey there, Mel, the marvelous purveyor of the 90-10 whole food eating plan. All right. Yes, Cerberus is always acting a fool. And actually, he's not that bad. He's not that bad. I mean, it's just got to be really boring for him because he thinks that he's supposed to be the center of attention, which he normally is. So, all right. Mary says, I think because I get hungry at night, I didn't get enough calories that day. Okay. Um, and that's a possibility. Or it could also be what some people have said that I get really sweaty when I'm on these. um, okay. It could be one of those things where it's late at night and it's that late night snacking or boredom or, you know, it could be that. It could also be that you're not getting enough. So the way to fix that, right, is to try to incorporate more during the day. Let's see, losing it with grace. Has food noise always been, or is it usually learned? And if so, can it be unlearned? That's a great question. I don't know anyone else in my immediate family that experiences that. That's not something that my mom ever, like, even having these talks with her now, she's 72, 71, 71. She's never experienced that. I don't recall ever seeing my grandmother eat like that. Like when I say we get together and people eat, I never saw her just like eating to excess and being uncomfortable or anything like that. So for me, it has always been ever since I can remember. Even as a kid, I was doing that. I would sneak and get food. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, and I don't think that I learned it. It was just something it was just the way that I was wired. So, is a process I think that I absolutely believe it can be managed, but I think it takes being aware of it first because if you're not aware of something, how do you know that it needs to be fixed, right? I didn't know that other people didn't think that way until I had these discussions with other people. And then I realized, okay, this is not something that everybody struggles with. And I learned about the food noise, the actual term, in therapy. And it was through an eating disorder or disordered eating program. So that's where I learned about it. So that's why I don't, there are people who call it a buzzword. Well, licensed professionals told me about this. So I don't really consider that a buzzword. All right. And we got one dislike. That's better than a lot. Someone hit the thumbs down. All right, then. Well, that's going to happen, right? Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Or I guess down if you're unhappy with the live stream. Okay. Let's see. So that's my answer to that, losing grace. It's something that I have experienced my whole life. And yes, I do believe that with therapy and being intentional, it can be managed. All right. Let's see. All in her movements. I just started. I'm on 2.5, eating less, but no weight loss. It's a process. It's a process. You want to make sure that you're eating enough, right? That's important. And if you have a way, like right now, especially with you just starting, if you can have a way to get an accurate reading of your body composition. So whether that's through an in-body scan, a DEXA scan, I'm a big fan of the DEXA scan. It's very convenient for me. The place is, 15 minutes away and it's $25. So I can get those at any time. Find out if you have something like that in your area because I want you to be able to see that. If you go a certain amount of time and you feel like nothing's happening, but you're making these lifestyle changes, it could be that, maybe you didn't have a whole bunch of, water retention. Because a lot of that in the very beginning is water weight. It's a lot of water weight in that first week or so. It's not like you just automatically losing muscle or fat. That's a gradual thing. And if you don't eat enough, for long enough, you will lose muscle at a faster rate than you would have if you just try to keep a small deficit. Start off with a smaller deficit. I know the recommendation, I believe, is 500 calories a day. So start there. But what's important is knowing how much you should be eating. So that's why when your doctors prescribe these, see if they can, get you in with a dietitian, or at least they can tell you what you should be eating. What's a safe amount of calories for you to be eating? I think getting that information from them because they have all of the factors there, they should be able to help you with that. So if you can get a scan, a DEXA scan, that'll tell you like, then if you go back in a couple of months, you'll see. I bet you'll see some difference. There was someone who commented on a video today of mine that was from early on in my journey, and I was talking about how I had gained 4 pounds of muscle, and this was from one DEXA scan to another, right? I had gained 4 pounds of muscle and lost 2.6 pounds of fat. That doesn't look like much on the scale, right? So that's why we can't just focus on that. Hopefully, you're feeling better and other things are starting to improve. And again, 2.5 is a starter dose. Even though there's people who have been on it the entire time, Lilly, it's on their website, it's considered a starting dose. So it's okay. It's okay if you don't really notice anything yet. Give it some time. Give it some time to build up in your system. Let's see. My dog's name is Cerberus. Oh, thank you, Felicia. Let's see. Darium said, congrats for starting. Absolutely. You're doing well and your body's adjusting to these meds. I'm sorry. Your body's adjusting to these meds and doing all the good things. Give it time and treatment. Absolutely, what Darium said. Um, there are a lot of people that are in this chat right now that didn't start off just losing a whole bunch of weight right away. The key is sticking with it. Sticking with it. And doing it the right way. We want to do it the right way. And the right way is the sustainable way. So there's no cookie cutter way of doing this. It's the sustainable way. What can you do? What do you see yourself being able to do for the rest of your life? Are you gonna carry these behaviors on vacation? When you go to get-togethers? Like, we're making lifestyle changes, not no longer, "I'm doing this until," because when you get to until, you're not gonna know where to go from there. See, Maple, yes, being aware of food noises. I didn't know about that until I got on Zepbound. And Mabel, hopefully it silenced it for you. Um, yeah, that. That to me was the most incredible part, and it's done other things, but, like, that was the thing that I noticed almost immediately. Like, "Wow, okay. I can take or leave something?" Let's see. Alright, we got some congratulations. Let's see. Darium is asking Mabel something. Mary says, "Taisha, I've been told that I can go to the VA because I'm a widow of a veteran. Is that true?" Was your, you should be able to. Yes. Yes. And you should be eligible for that. Um, I would double check. I know that you have TRICARE, so you're entitled to those benefits. I do believe that you would still be able to go to the VA. Um, so yes, yes. And they are particular with how they prescribe that medication. They require, at least here, for you to go through the MOVE program. And that is it's a 90-day program. So, and it's obviously hosted differently in different places. Here in Fort Wayne, they send you a scale and you have these little modules that you do every day and it goes along with a workbook. So, that's it. I didn't have through that program any counseling, anybody sitting down with me, none of that. So it was not something that I found worthwhile because I already knew those things. That wasn't my problem. My problem was the lack of control when it came to eating. And that wasn't something that the book or the modules addressed. So we all know about balancing our diet and moving. Like, we get that. That wasn't our struggle. Our struggle was the eating portion. And now that that's under control, I notice a lot of us have that space freed up to be able to make intentional choices and move our bodies and those kind of things. And we got Mindy here doing a triathlon. So I didn't know about food noise until I started Manjaro. It disappeared the very next day. It was the weirdest thing. And did you feel like your mind was just freed up for so much more? That's kind of how I felt. Like, that noise was quieted, but I was just like, huh. I just felt like I was able to do more things. And yes, that is freeing. Let's see. Okay. Yes, it did. That's good, Mabel. Tina. That's awesome. That's awesome. I was lucky enough. Now, the way that it was submitted back in 2023, when I was prescribed Wegovy, they were not covering it. That was a denial every time. So there were some times where I was able to get it through the VA, and then it went into like this super shortage where for months people weren't getting it. So that's awesome. That's awesome. For Zepbound, that was also my experience. And I love TRICARE. And I know that um, I feel very lucky to have it. But it's not lost on me that at some point, just like these other insurance companies are dropping things, I know that that can always be a possibility. So, you know, that's where we are. If we get to that, then I'll more than likely go the vial route, if I have to pay out of pocket. So, that's awesome. That's awesome, Tina. Let's see. You're welcome, Mary. It's absolute freedom. I wasn't hardly ever thinking about anything other than when my next bite was coming. I told you guys I was being 100% when I said that's how I got through basic training, meal by meal. Both times when I went through the Air Force and then when I went through the Army, same thing. My meals got me through. I was definitely motivated. uh, and he said, my mental capacity seems so much better now. That's good. That's really good. I'll take it. I'll take it. It's worth it to me. And for those that have this mindset, you know what? Let me bring y'all back in here so I can talk to you. For people that have that mindset of, oh, you don't know what's going to happen in a few years, the direction that I was heading, my outcome wasn't good. I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, all kinds of GI issues, lots of things that high cholesterol, my A1C was climbing. Like these are things that are not healthy either. So if taking this injection has some risks, to me it was worth it. So I don't feel this need to defend that, or if someone says, "Oh, you could have done what you could have just done diet and exercise, it's the same thing." Yeah, you can do that. You don't experience this, and it's not about feeling like, "Oh, something's wrong with me and, I deserve something special." No, I am not wired the same way, right? Just like and I use this example because it's the only thing that comes to my mind. It's like an alcoholic. Do you tell them, "Why can't you just drink one drink?" They can't because they're not wired that way. And that's the same with us in food. We're not wired that way. So we have a tool that can help us. I'm not ashamed of that. Now, am I going to be walking down the street with my box like, or, a sign saying, "Hey, I'm on Zepbound"? Absolutely not. But I'm not embarrassed about it. I will have that conversation if somebody asks about it. They say, "Oh, what have you been doing?" "Oh, I made lifestyle changes and I'm taking Zepbound." That's it. I don't have to get into anything else, and neither do you. You don't owe anybody any explanations, okay? So I just want to take a moment to say that because I know that there are people that when holidays are coming up, they're trying to figure out what they're going to say. You don't owe anybody an explanation for anything. You don't have to say anything. What have you been doing? Talk about what you've physically been doing, right? If you want to. If not, you don't owe anyone that. So don't give yourself that extra stress. It's unnecessary, okay? We gotta protect this. This is so important. And I'm telling you, the last few days have been something, and I am I am taking that advice. I'm taking that advice. I know it's difficult because people are always going to have opinions about things, but we don't owe an explanation. And let me go back. Uh-oh. I did it again. All right, let's go back to the comments. I go off on these little mini tangents, but okay, Linda's journey is also, oh, wait, hold on. Where are we? Where was the last one? Okay, oil in her movements. Thanks for the encouragement, everyone. I'm paying 100% out of pocket, but I know this will be worth it in the long run. Absolutely. When you think about the things that people sacrifice for, right? Like going on vacations, taking trips, those types of things. People, when they have the ability to, right? Because we're not getting into um like what Dee did a live stream on the haves and the have nots. I'm obviously not putting everybody on the same playing field. I'm saying that it's worth it. It's worth it when it comes to our health. It's worth it. And I think you're going to do fine. And the fact that you're willing to make that sacrifice, you're already in the right direction. You're already going in the right direction. It's definitely going to be worth it. Just keep with it, okay? Keep up with it. All right. We're going down to I have my oh nice. Yeah, same. I'm good until August. So that'll be my 1 year from when it was because I got on it in February. Then there was like we had to redo it because I was good for 6 months and now it's good for a year. So it's my understanding that it'll just be annual. So hopefully they keep it, right? Okay. I have my approval for a year. I'm on week 5 and loving it. The best part is the inflammation in my body has disappeared. No constant aches and pains. Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about. It's doing more than just suppressing an appetite. It's so much more. And I'm glad that you're seeing that, Tina. 1,000%. All right. Linda says she started 3 weeks ago and she's down 6 pounds. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm scrolling down. Okay. For All in Her Movement, same thing. Inflammation also went down immediately for me. It's great. And oh, something I don't know if I feel like you all know, but when I had that issue where I guess I was having inflammation and retaining water when I had the dose change and the stress, right? And I went up 13.8 pounds. Everything is back to normal now. And the only thing that changed is the dose. So that's why I believe that I would be someone that will be on this for the rest of my life because I didn't change my diet. I didn't change my diet when the weight started going up. Um, during that dose change, and I'm still eating the same way now. So it is operating on more than just appetite, and I think that's great. I think it's great for everyone who experiences the benefits of that because I also realize not everybody struggles with inflammation. So for those of us that do, and this has improved it, it's like, yeah, I'm if I can stay on it, I will. Um, okay, let me go back. Linda's journey has rheumatoid arthritis. Okay. I have something called seronegative spondyloarthropathy. So if you feel like looking that up, you'll know what that is. So I do get having the arthritic pains. Like I didn't find any relief in that until I started on this journey and before when I lost a significant amount of weight. Now, those pains that I struggled with were before even gaining weight. So that was something that I was diagnosed with when I was in the military and it had nothing to do with weight gain. So I know that rheumatoid arthritis is a bad one. So I'm glad that you're getting, living a pain-free life because who wants to be in pain every day, right? Or on, pain meds and all of the other things you think that you had to give up now that you're on this, it's a win. It's a win. Dr. Bobby, you're a trip. It's all good. You're here. You're here. Um, I'm scrolling on down. We got some hellos. All right, we got Butterfly in the house too. How you doing? What? 2.0, 8 o'clock? I must have done that before because I don't think my regular time was ever at 8. It was at I tried 6 for a while. That was too early. But but I'm glad to have you here. It's all good. It's all good. Has anyone gotten their approval for a second time? Yes. So after that initial 6 months, I had to go again and that was approved. So, yes. And that would be I'm not sure, I'm not aware of any insurance companies that just give you just a rubber stamp like that's it, you're approved indefinitely, but obviously I don't know. I don't have any other insurances but TRICARE, so that's all I'm familiar with. Hey Shonda, how you doing? Linda says, "Thank you, Trina in chat, Tina in chat." All right. Heather is on. Yay! She's on the 10 milligram vials. Okay. And then supplement another 3 milligrams of compound. I really hope they come out with the other doses and vials soon. I hope so for those of you that need to go up. For those of you that need to go up, I'm hoping that they get that out very soon. Especially for continuity of care, right? When you have something that's working, you don't want to have to keep stopping because things are not available or finding all these extra sources. So I hope that that's the case for you, Heather. Fingers crossed that it comes out, that they come out soon. Aw. What are you trying to do, man? You trying to make me cry? Thank you, honey. Thank you. Oh, man. All right. So before we go, let's get over to one of my favorite parts. Well, it's my favorite way to kind of tailor us down. So we're going to go over here to where are you joining from tonight? If there we go. Yeah. So we got And let me refresh that, reset as we want. And we're doing North America, and we will zoom in here. All right. So I'm sure those of you that have been here before, you know that I cannot track where you are. So if you feel comfortable, put where you're joining from tonight, and it'll pop up on the map. And I love doing this so we can see that there are a lot of us, we're all over the place, and we're coming together with this common goal, right? Of bettering our health through the help of using GLP-1 medications. So I think that's pretty awesome. Okay, we were piling up on the West Coast today. Hey, sweet tea, how you doing? Hey, Harjarine, Vanessa. Hopefully, I didn't miss anyone. If I missed saying your name, please know it wasn't personal. If I could show you how quickly the chat streams through here. All right, look at that. All right, let me add my little location in. All right, hubby got it for me. This is so cool to me. Get in to see it a little better. All right. Okay. So we don't have a whole lot in this little section over here. Oh, you guys can see the mouse today. All right. So this is great. Look at that. So the East Coast is pretty deep in the house tonight. All the way from the northeast to the southeast. Let me see if this is going to work like it should today. Look at that. We got Canton, Ohio, coming in with the 65 degrees. And I won't bore you guys and pull up all of them, but we had a nice day today too. In Fort Wayne, 65.8. Not too bad, right? This is actually working like it's supposed to today. That's a beautiful picture. Let me see how I can go through this kind of quickly. Let's go down here to Florida. All right. 75 basically. Let's check out the West Coast. All right, Mary, you had some nice weather. We got over here, Shonda. All right, so 75 degrees over there too. Okay, Los Angeles. Yeah, these are nice temps. Some nice pictures too. Felicia. All right. Okay. So, hey, she is Tamika, Miss Erica, Stella. We got Leo Hazel in the house. All right. This is awesome. This is awesome. And you guys are still putting them in. Darium in the bushes. You guys are so funny with that. All right. So, here we go here. I'm not going to hold you. Does I want to make sure that I addressed any questions, right? As far as the lesson, you guys can catch the replay if you came late, but we were just talking about food noise. There should be a worksheet pinned in the chat, and that'll basically give you what you missed. And if you want to have that when you go through the replay, you'll have that. So I just want to thank everybody for coming, and I know that time is a precious commodity, and I appreciate you spending it with me. And I'm going to leave you with, we can share our journeys, but we should never compare them. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.